Hey everybody, Scout Crafty here again, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday, but it's a special Friday. It's Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, big holiday for a lot of people. Christmas Day, big holiday. It's always a nice holiday because it's so inclusive, you know. You can celebrate the birth of Jesus, or you can celebrate the fact that Santa Claus comes and gives people gifts. And it's always a nice holiday to appreciate people that do you services, like your mail person, or today I tipped the oil guy, the guy that delivers my oil. He was very happy. And, so people that you don't think usually, you take them for granted the rest of the year, you let them know they're appreciated this time of year. It's always a good time. And Christmas, we got a couple things because it's Christmas Eve. I know you're probably busy, so we're going to keep it short. But there's a few things I want to talk about. First of all, this week, for you people like me, that do the poor man's flea market, which means when you drive around and you see trash, good trash, this is our time. This is it. This is big time. The next couple weeks, actually the next month, it's great pickings for the poor man's flea market. And you will not believe the stuff that gets thrown out between now and the first couple weeks of January, because people get new stuff and the old stuff isn't bad, but they just, a lot of people, especially where I live, people don't have room, their apartments or whatever. So there's always good stuff, being thrown. I mean, if you like looking for stuff like that in the garbage, so to speak. Speaking of which, I'll show you. What's funny? I found this. Look at this beautiful chair I found. I found this about maybe 10 years ago. Isn't that a beautiful chair? I love that style. And that was thrown out. And again, you have to know where you're picking from. I picked that one out from a person, a house that they were moving, an older house, and they were moving, and they were starting to, they were going to tear the house down, and there was so many old things that were thrown out, and I just love that chair. And last week I'm telling you, still, even before Christmas, things get thrown, good stuff. But here, let me show you this lamp that we're going to start the episode with. Now, last week on my walk, I saw this lamp in the garbage. Now, I have this identical lamp that I bought for my milling machine. You see it right here? I bought that to put next to my milling machine. It's a great little lamp. Sometimes you need a little extra light next to a machine. And this was a great little lamp. And I remember I bought this. I think I might have got it at Staples or something, but I looked at this lamp and I saw it in the garbage. There was a couple other new things, and there's two things. One, this is pulled away a little bit, which is normal for these, but this is what was broken, okay? They couldn't switch it on anymore, but meanwhile, all it is, the switch is there. It's just a tube that connects in here. So why, I'm sure it works. Let's get a bulb and try it out. Why wouldn't this work? It's got a beautiful porcelain socket. It's a nice little lamp, especially for the shop here. Let's try it out. Okay, cleaned everything off with a damp rag and, little Mother's cleaner, Carnauba wax, cleans everything up, makes it look like brand new. Just push this back into the hole. Everything's good. Now we're just going to put in a nice LED bulb. I like these little GE lights, and we're going to put this and try it out. Okay, moment of truth. There we go. Look at that. Beautiful little light. The switch here does not bother me. That I actually like the fact that the vents are open here. If you did want to fix this, all you would have to do is glue this little piece that just slips over that switch back in here with some JB Weld, but I have no need for that, especially in the shop. It's a great little shop light, and we'll use that in a couple minutes to show you something that I got that this is really going to help you see it. Okay, next up, we've been beating drills to death this past week and a half or so, and but we'll be moving on after the new year. A couple things. I just want to bring up the fact that a lot of people don't have a drill set. They might have one or two drill bits or some old drill bits. It really pays to go get yourself a drill set. How many times this will come in handy, you don't know. And look them up, they're all over Amazon, and look at the ratings. A lot of them have high ratings. This one's supposed to be a highly rated set. It's DeWalt. And I always like high-speed steel. Always look for high-speed steel. They're really good. They don't snap and twist and break. They're very forgiving, and they last a long time as long as you don't overheat them. So here's like a typical set that you might want to pick up or something. But as you move on, sometimes you realize you need different sizes, more sizes. So then you move on. This is another set. You'll see it's kind of an entry level machinist type set or whatever. You can find these inexpensive, and it's always a good practice that if you should break a drill, which occasionally you will do, or break it or dull a drill out, to try and replace it with that same size. So this way when you're going through, but you see that you try and get the jobber length. Jobber length is a standard drill size, so you can replace them no problem. A bigger set, I've had this one for years. This is good. And has the titanium nitrate coating, which is that gold coating that you see on here. That really does help. I find those bits to be really good. I've used these for years. This set I keep for just when I need that size, because this covers almost every size, and you can see it comes with a chart here. It gives you the decimal equivalents. It goes from half inch, goes from a number 1 drill to a half-inch drill. And you can see here, it's got the letter drills. Sometimes on this side's the letter drills. You can see over here. And then it has the number drills on top. And then it has the fractional drills over here. So there's always some time you need one that's in between. Good set to have. Well, on that same note, I was watching Jason over at Fireball Tools. I'm sure a lot of you subscribe to him. He always does great stuff on his channel. I'll put a link. You should check him out. He has, just great stuff, and he's a great teacher. Anyway, Jason recommended, he goes, look, I bought this years ago. It was just over $100. This is, I have most drills up to half-inch. Well, this is from half-inch up to 1-inch. High-speed steel. But now, when you get above half-inch, you get what's called a Silver and Deming bit. And what that means, it's a reduced shank bit. Okay, I'll pull one out here so you can see what they look like. They all have the reduced shank bits on them. Now, these typically, let me pull this out of here and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, these typically, anytime you reduce the shank, it's always a bad idea. And I'll tell you why. Anytime you want to reduce it the other way, you want to have big going down to small. You don't want to have small going to big, because it's just a problem. So, but these are supposed to be pretty decent. Sometimes you don't have a choice. Like me, I don't have the machines to run a 3/4 inch shank into my chucks. I just don't have them that big. So I need something that's half, and that's why you do it. But the worst things are the 1/4 inch Silver and Deming. That's where they all drop down to a 1/4 inch shank. Those things are notoriously bad. But this one here is supposed to be good. They rate very high. They're high-speed steel. I mean, for the price, this set was just over $100, and it's got all that sizes. Now, for what I do a lot of aluminum, things like that. I won't have a problem, but if you're dealing with heavy-duty steel, you want a big bit the whole way, invest in the bigger machines. But I just want you to know, I'm also like you. When I see something on one of the channels that I watch that looks good, I go out and I'm just like you. You say, I want that, and you buy it. Now, one last thing, when you do get a new set, or anytime you get a set, that a lot of times when they're shipped out so that they don't rust, they're covered in like what we used to call Cosmoline, but it's just nothing more than like an oil grease mixture. But the first thing you do is you take them out like this and douse it down with some WD-40, wipe the bit down, and then put them back in here and get that off there, because you want them ready to go when you need to use it. And you don't want that, it's a little sticky on there. And it's good for rust preventative, but not good for drilling. You want that slick and slippery when you're drilling. You don't want it, binding up. So wipe them all down with WD-40 before you put them into use. Okay, next up, for the last 25 years or so, I've been at Christmas time buying myself a Christmas present. That's right. And I think it'd be a great practice for you to pick up for yourself, to treat yourself around Christmas time like we do for everybody else. You buy everybody else a gift. Why not buy yourself a gift? And I always like to buy myself something frivolous, something that I normally wouldn't buy during the year. And I'm always happy when I do it. So this year, is no exception. I bought myself something really cool, and I think you're going to like it. Let's go check it out. Okay, so this year, this is what I bought myself for my Christmas gift, giving it to me. And I paid crazy money for this thing because it's just pretty rare. You don't see too much of these things around. And what this is a 1956 Black & Decker 1/4-inch utility drill kit. It is new old stock, meaning never been fired. This is just the way this would have come to you from the factory or at the hardware store. Now, when we open up the kit here, we see the first thing we're greeted by is a guidebook for, this would come with the 1/4-inch drill, the 1/4-inch all-purpose drill, or the utility drill. And this had everything you needed to know about using your attachments, using your the different lubrication and grounding the tool and the brushes and everything, how it works. It was a very good booklet that I wish they would include more often with things today. Also sales and service, your guarantee and warranty card that you would send in, you know, serial numbered. Here is a kit, what it would be included into the kit, and also if you wanted to replace or anything. And this is what your kit included. First of all, here you had the Jacobs key. I'll show you how that works. It's a little bit of a different chuck on this one, but these were common in a lot of them back in, especially 1956. Here you had your backing rubber for the sanding discs. You had your arbor. And your also a Black & Decker wire brush made in the United States, which is always nice to see. It had a drill stand and a packet of drills. And here you had 7 chrome vanadium drills that were included. You could see here, all new old stock, and they would go into that little drill stand there. And the drill stand would clip into the side once you had to assemble this kit yourself, more or less. Like you see this little piece here. It says Black, with a nice little insignia, Black & Decker electric toolkit. You would slip this into these little slots here. You see here? It would slip into those slots there, and that's where you would stack your accessories behind there, which I thought was pretty interesting. Some sanding discs, again, new old stock. And underneath here, this is it. Look at that. Oh, look at that. This is, like I said, never been used. 1956. Look at the polish on here. Imagine going back to 1956 when everything was made like this, like quality. Look at that. It's just unbelievable. And here it is. You could see Black & Decker 1/4-inch utility drill. Had the slightly longer handle here. Look at that new old stock. Listen to that switch. Just beautiful. And here's that chuck I was telling you about. That chuck was very interesting on how this one worked, because you see here, if you notice on the chuck here, it works very similar to a keyless or a keyless chuck, in the sense that you would open it up like this. You would place your drill bit in here like that, and you would tighten it up like this. Once you gave that a tight, it was in there firm, but it could still slip because of the the torque you might put on it. So what you would do is you would spin over here. You could see there was a little hex socket here, and there was a little dot. You see that little dot just there on the 9 o'clock position? Well, you would take your hex key and you would place it into the hex, and you would lock it by either going up or down about a 1/4 turn. Now that won't go anymore, but that's locked in. That bit will not move, and that's how you would operate this chuck. To remove the bit, you would replace the hex key, turn that dot until it's at the 9 o'clock position, matching up with the other dot, and then you would slide this out here and you take your bit out. Now, if you ever did forget your hex key, on the opposite side, there was a slotted screw bit that would do the exact same thing. It would cam and lock the bit in. They were very true running chucks, but they were just a little bit more unusual, and you don't see them too often. But look how beautiful that is, huh? And you can see here the cord came with some additional grounding instructions, because again, 1956, they've been dealing with people getting shocked with these for 30 or 40 years already. So they told you how to ground your unit and how to ground the plug. And this one even came with a grounding adapter. Look at this cool, again, new old stock grounding adapter. This is the type they would have with the old outlets. Again, non-polarized, you could see. But what you would do is you would put this into the outlet and screw this into the center screw plate of the outlet, and this would ground your tool. But unless you had a grounded plug, you can just use this without the adapter. What do you say we give this a try, this 1956 new old stock drill, a try, and see what it sounds like after all these years? Now again, this is the actual wrap, a piece of rubber. It looked like almost like a piece of inner tube almost that they would wrap around the cord when you got it brand new. Came with the tag on there. It's never been used. And we'll plug it into a grounded, I have a grounded outlet here, as you know, and we'll give it a shot. Again, first time in, how many years is that? Let's check it out. Distinct smell of ozone because it hasn't been running so long. But I want to point out one thing. If you look at the brushes back here, you can see that slight blue spark. That is common, and it's normal, and as long as the sparks aren't wrapping around or excessive, but you will get them on. But look at that. Isn't that something? And just beautiful, huh? Imagine that, knocking around in this box for so many years, waiting for today to be opened by us. Now, as beautiful as that kit is, sometimes it's a little bit of a shame because you know, I'd love to use it just the way it is, you know, and just take it and use it and stuff. But, you know, there are very few kits like that that are still intact exactly the way they came from the factory. And so I kind of feel an obligation to keep it as it is. And hopefully it'll go into somebody's hand who's a collector and appreciates it, instead of somebody that's going to take it and start stripping down their boat. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. It was a little bit of a mosh, and I hope you have a fantastic Christmas. Thanks so much for tuning in. Merry Christmas to you all. Take care. Bye-bye.